Welcome back to Conscious Mother podcast, where we have real conversations about motherhood, healing, and personal journey. So, today I am delighted to welcome Shubhra Priyadarshini, founder of Soulful by Shubhra. Shubhra, welcome to Conscious Mother podcast. I'm so happy to see you here.
Thank you so much for hosting me, Shagun.
So, after spending over 12 years in the corporate world, life led her towards a deeper purpose. So, what was her purpose? We're going to know everything in this podcast today. She's a certified relationship coach, emotional wellness guide, and Akashic Healer. Shubhra believes that when we heal ourselves and connect to our deeper purpose, we create a ripple effect that positively impacts not only our families but future generations. So that's such a lovely thought with which you are working and operating every single day. And we're going to quickly start with our conversation today. I'm super excited. So, Shubhra, just tell us about yourself before becoming a mother. What was your journey like? Who were you?
So, if I have to, first and foremost, thank you for the beautiful introduction. And to answer the question that you asked me, if I have to just say who I was before I was a mother, there's one word that defines who I was: a people pleaser, a person who was, always trying to fill everybody else's cup, not understanding that my cup was empty.
Right.
I was exhausted. I was drained, thinking that I'm doing so much good for everyone and everybody without understanding that there was a lot of resentment that was still piling in. And I was running after things, career success, money, anything and everything that made me feel successful in the eyes of others without understanding what I actually wanted. With the motherhood journey coming in, and just right after my daughter was born, she is the firstborn, things started changing. I started understanding what I like versus what I don't. Earlier, it was nothing like that. It was everything for the parent, everybody, everything, for my partner. I still remember days when, I used to keep things ready so that everybody does not get into any kind of a hassle, despite whatever I was going through. But motherhood changed everything. So, this is how I would like to put it, that, motherhood sometimes brings or shows us things which we didn't realize existed within us. That's how. And it did not change the day my daughter was born. It started changing when she started growing up a little, and I saw her doing similar things for others. I mean, small things, when even when they're a baby, you tell them, don't do this. This is not good. You should not behave this way, and they start listening, and they will. Then I feel like this isn't right. This isn't right. She should just be herself. Why is she not behaving the way a child should behave? What is she learning from me? And that is where the bulb on moment, in our sessions, we say, what is the bulb on moment? That was the bulb on moment when I realized that my daughter is learning to be there for others without being there for herself at such a young age, which is not right at all. That's when I stopped not doing it anymore. So
Right.
that's how.
I feel children are our true reflection. They show us things that we might have never seen it before. But again, as said by you, we need to have that awareness to see it.
Very, very true.
Otherwise, most of the time we just neglect it, and our children also start carrying our own patterns.
And I would like to say one thing, Shagun. I do not know whether if this happens with you, but it happens a lot with me that I see the same words that my mother used to say, I repeat it often. And I don't want that to be passed on to my kids at all. And that is where a conscious stop comes into play.
Correct.
Understanding that yes, I did something which I would never want them to learn. Never ever.
Yeah, so true. Yeah. Coming to my next question, Shubhra, uh, the best thing that motherhood has taught you about your own self.
Okay. So it's a very difficult thing because motherhood has taught me many, many things. Before I answer that question, there's a very beautiful line by one of the authors, Jill Churchill, and it's beautifully quoted when there is no way to be a perfect mother. But there are many, many ways or a million ways to be a good one. So first and foremost, to all the mothers out there who are drowning themselves in, mother's guilt, feeling that they're not doing enough, understand there will always be some kind of a guilt as a mother. You'll always feel that you're missing out on something. If you are a working mother, you'll feel that I'm not giving enough time. If you are a mother at home, you'll feel that I'm not being enough of an inspiration for my child. So either way, there will be some guilt. Do not worry about that. And then to answer your question, this has what motherhood has taught me. There will be guilts. There will be times when you'll feel that I could have done more. But you don't have to be that perfect person. Your imperfections are also an inspiration for them. They learn from that as well. And the second thing that motherhood has taught me is that practice what you preach, walk the talk. Why? Because kids don't listen to what you say. They will never listen to what you say, rather imbibe what you do. So if you are an angry parent, you will see that percolating down in your kids. If you do not know how to regulate what you're speaking, I'll tell you a very beautiful example. Okay. My daughter, I used to tell her, beta, breathe, breathe when you're angry. And then one fine day, I was super angry on something, and she comes and tells me, Mama, breathe. And I'm like, oh yes, that's absolutely right. I should, I should breathe. And that was like an eye opener. I'm telling her this day in and day out, breathe. Be kinder to your younger one. Breathe. And then she's like, Mama, breathe. It was so beautiful. I said, yes, definitely. I took a pause. I sat down. I was angry, but it made me smile and I did breathe. So walking and talking, walk the talk. Very, very important.
I just can't, agree more on this with you. It reminds me of my own experience, when my daughter was a year old, you know, I was so fascinated that time with books and everything. I wanted her to go through different kinds of books and I ordered few books. And that moment I just realized, and I don't know from where that awareness came into my mind, like, Shagun, do you even read books? And I was like, I don't read books. There is not even single book that I have, and I'm expecting her to be a bookworm, and I want her to read. And that was the day I just ordered, my first book, that was Life's Amazing Secret by Gaur Gopal Dasji. I ordered that book and I started going through that book myself. And then there was no looking back. Now it's like a complete library that I have at home. So, and she's same now. Now I don't have to tell her that read. She sees me going through pages and reading, and now she picks up any book on her own. And yeah, that's
That's how
rightly
it is.
said,
Yeah.
You should
I have
actually.
seen that.
Mhm.
You said 1 year old. My son is 3. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have seen that in him because I teach my elder one. She's 7 this year. She's turning 7 this year. So I'll teach her. And this little one brings his own set of books, whatever he gets. Mama, I will also study. Mama, teach. Mama, padhai. He doesn't, say full sentences as of now. He'll say, Mama, padhai. So I don't have to go and tell him, go do it. That happens naturally because they are seeing what is happening around him. The environment has a very big impact, and we are the people who create the environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The journey, I think it starts at home only. So as parents, instead of just looking outside, we should look within our own selves, like what are our actions and what are we doing?
Exactly. Very, very
Yeah.
true.
Mhm. And my next question, what was the hardest part of motherhood? Let's just accept it that it comes with, a lot of difficulties. And then we, sail through it well through our different, ways of healing. So what was that difficult part for you? What do you think? Which phase was it?
So I was mentioning this in the beginning of our discussion also. Unlearning what I already knew. I had, I wouldn't say had, I have learned so many things from my mother, both good and bad. She has been an inspiration throughout. But there have been moments, like where I would go and say something, um, unconscious comparisons.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that I was doing, saying that खाना क्यों नहीं खाती हो सारे बच्चे तो अच्छे से खाना खाते हैं तुम्ही को problem. Small things we don't even realize that we are uttering such words. You have always been lean. I used to get these kind of things a lot. Both these statements that I'm saying, the one before
Hmm.
this now.
Hmm.
I have always been lean. तुम खाना ठीक से नहीं खाती हो, तुम्हें इसीलिए तुम्हें दिक्कत होती है, तुम्हारे पैर में इसीलिए दर्द होते हैं, तुम खाना ही नहीं खाती. This was something which I used to hear often. I was a child whose appetite was not very, it was not a very big appetite. I always ate less. And
Right.
my daughter has a similar appetite.
Hmm.
I heard myself saying the same thing. And I realized I myself can't eat anything and everything in the world. I'm very, very picky eater myself. Not a good thing to be, but that is how I am. I cannot change it even how much ever I try. I'm a picky eater. And
Hmm.
when my child is doing the same, I'm expecting her to behave in a certain way, which I myself will have big problem accepting. And since I heard somebody telling me and I used to force feed myself, why am I doing that to her?
Right.
Right? So they were, I said this continuously for 2 or 3 days, and suddenly I realized. And how did I realize this? My mother had come to visit, and she said the same thing to me, and I was like, I said this to her. So it's like a generational thing that I'm
Ah,
passing on, right? And then that, because since my mother doesn't stay with me, I didn't realize that it was coming from her.
yeah.
But that pattern was there. And I
Hmm.
wanted to take a break that time, then and there. The new rule that I set up was you take how much ever you need. The food is on the dining table. You choose what of all these you want to eat. Take whatever you can finish. My meal times have become so much better because of this. And trust me when I say this, sometimes half a chapati is enough, sometimes three is also not enough. But I cannot force feed her. It's her choice, and she's happy, she's healthy.
Yeah.
The doctor, the pediatrician used to tell me,
Hmm.
don't worry, they'll eat as much as they want. And I used to, sir, khana hi nahi khate hain. You're right, that kind of a feeling, because we as mothers are always insecure.
Right.
Security has been passed on to us, so we are insecure. So, but that unlearning the things that I thought are right to say, unlearning the things that I thought are right to do, giving up some control and
Hmm.
let them being themselves.
Wow, lovely. And especially food, talking about food, food is altogether a very different battle that we might talk in some other episode because it again needs the entire discussion. Finishing up the plate is our agenda as a parent, but the child knows absolutely they are well informed with this, how much they want to have. Like you rightly said, half chapati is also fine, and someday three chapati is also fine. So,
Exactly.
so let's just leave that aside right now, okay? Yeah. Okay. And any beautiful moments that you remember from your parenting, anything that you would like to share with us, some moment that just stuck with you.
So there have been many, many beautiful moments, because motherhood is a journey which in itself is very, very beautiful. But thinking of it now, one moment stands out when when I'm giving a lot of examples for my daughter, because there are more examples from her life to share, because my
Your
younger one.
second one is a son.
Yes, second one is a son. He's 3,
Three.
but I'm giving more examples from her because I've seen more of her, and she's, how do I put it? She's just a reflection of me. The things that I do, she imbibes them just then and there. And when I see that happening, it gives me a very happy feeling. And my son follows her. So the example, it goes in sync that way. So
Huh.
I remember one incident, because I always tell her, whatever happens, the first thing that they have to do is be kind. Every problem in the world can be solved if you know how to communicate and communicate kindly. Because whenever we are angry, we shout. And as soon as you shout, the person goes away from you. And you cannot resolve a conflict if a person is not close to you. You have to make them sit and understand what you're thinking, right? So the kids, she goes down to play in the evening. So, a lot of kids are playing. So somebody mistakenly hit the other child.
Okay.
And they were like, you did it on purpose. You did not want to play with me. And she being, I don't know what she being herself, she told, Let's listen to each other first, why she did that. And I was surprised. Oh, yes, such a small child asking, let's listen to each other, why she did that. I was so pleasantly surprised that she has the patience enough to be able to understand the other person's perspective. And she does that with my younger one also. Whenever he comes and hits her, like, Avi, Q Mara. His name is Avi. Q Mara. First explain that.
Wow.
And then there are days where she'll go and hit back. I don't deny. Nobody can be 100% perfect. But when she does this, it gives me a hope that yes, I'm doing something right. So that's something I really, really adore about how, she's learning the things that I actually want her to learn, being her true, authentic self, not just hiding what she'll be very, very vocal. I'm very, very sad with what you have done. She'll literally be in tears sometimes, but she'll ask, Q Mara?
Wow.
Not hit back, but she'll understand the perspective and then she acts.
Hmm.
So much of restraint sometimes my husband doesn't have. Sometimes I don't have, but she's portraying it at such a young age. That's the beauty.
Yeah, and I feel all of that comes from, from the mother and the father, of course. That awareness, we can't just sit there and blame our parents
No.
that, we are like this because our parents were like this. The awareness can come at any age. You don't have to be age specific that time. So anybody can learn anytime. You just need to have that willingness to learn.
I learned after 30. So
Same with me. Same with me.
we're learning so early. I think, if we have more kids like these, the world will definitely be a much, much better place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I work with kids in my school, I have all teenagers. So whatever, knowledge I am imbibing in my own self through Bhagavad Gita and all of it, through parenting things, I just keep passing it to them, and you will be surprised to know how amazingly well they take this knowledge. You know, we feel that they don't understand anything. They are not going to understand Bhagavad Gita, but they understand everything. They understand everything really well, and they are the best implementers.
And they ask the right questions. Sometimes
Absolutely.
we do not have answers to those questions because we have never explored.
Mm.
A few days I do Akashic healing. Okay, so I talk a lot about soul, reincarnations,
Right.
past lives.
Mm.
So one day she comes and asks me, Mama, how did I know that you will be my mother?
Mm.
How does my soul connect to you? And it's a very beautiful thing to explain, but to go down to the level of a child and
Mm.
explain. So that is also the beauty of motherhood. How you connect with them,
Wow.
how you convey your stories, how you convey what you know, so that
Mm.
they can understand and imbibe and then take it forward. That's where, because from as a healer, I know that all the souls, and you might be aware of this already, all the souls that are on this earth have a soul tribe. And
Right.
whenever a child is born, that soul chooses the parent.
Mm.
It's not the parent who chooses the child, it's always the other way. The child chooses the parent, and the reason could be varied. They
Mm.
want to learn something and they want to evolve us. There is some contract, but it's always the other way around. And once we understand why is this, because why I'm saying this, some children teach you patience.
Mm.
Some children come and teach you just to be consistent.
Right.
Every child will teach you a different thing,
Mm.
and you evolve with every child that you have. So that's the connection.
Wow.
Coming back to your Bhagavad Gita point, they are the best implementers, they are the best listeners. You just need to be in a capacity to help them understand what you want to convey. And we as parents, we as teachers have that power.
Right. Right. And as a mother also, I feel every mother holds a great power inside her, you know. She just needs to believe in her own self, and do not ever, ever, ever see yourself through the eyes of society.
Ever. That would be the biggest mistake you would do, because you will always be feeling that you're not sufficient in something or the other. Because as I gave you the example of a working mother and a non-working mother, there's a constant comparison.
Right.
And why do I even go there? Let's talk about just the delivery, a C-section mother and a normal, the lady who has given a normal birth. So
Right.
much of comparison then and there.
Hmm.
Neither of them is right, neither of them is wrong, Both of them are right for that situation. Whatever worked for you, you did.
Hmm.
Eventually, you gave birth to a new life.
Hmm.
How does it matter if it was a normal vaginal delivery or it was a C-section? It doesn't matter. But you are labeled even on that.
Absolutely. And it's very sad truth, but yes, a bitter one. I think we all have faced this, that, when a mother gives birth to a child, the first question that's been asked is, how was the delivery, whether it was C or whether it was normal delivery. And okay. And then you talk about that, and the first question should be, how is the mother doing? That should be the first question instead of anything else.
And people celebrate uh, the birthday of a 1-year-old child. Celebrate the mother after she's completed 1 year. She has done
Huh?
such a wonderful job.
Yeah.
And why I'm saying this, as usual, our home also we did celebrate the first birthdays of both our kids, and there was a lady who came up to to meet me then.
Yeah.
She's also a fellow Rotarian, and she came and met me. Her name is Vinodini, and she told Shubhra, congratulations on completing 1 year of motherhood. And I was so moved. I always had this feeling that somebody would acknowledge that yes, motherhood is not easy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I wouldn't deny that.
Mm,
It comes with its own set of challenges.
absolutely.
Nobody teaches you that. You just have to,
Mm.
you just learn on the way. And then when she said this, I was literally like, Mom, I'm so grateful you said that. I need more people like you around me. That's how it was. And it stuck with me. So whenever I go on somebody's birthday, now I make it a point to say that happy birthday to your child, but happy motherhood to you on completing so many years.
Wow. Wow, that's a lovely thought. Even I'm going to take it now. That's a lovely.
Wonderful. More mothers for mothers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a lovely thought. And what what is this word conscious mother for you? What is being conscious? Everybody keeps talking about, conscious. Our podcast name is also Conscious Mother Podcast. So, what is being conscious to you? What do you think?
Being conscious is listening without comparisons. And if I would have been speaking to a group of people who were talking about adults, I would say listening without judgment. But since we are on a motherhood topic and we're talking about young kids,
Right.
it's listening without comparing.
Mhm.
Why? Because we think that when we compare our child to somebody else, say that तुम्हारा भाई ऐसे नहीं करता, दीदी ऐसे नहीं करती, तुम्हारे friends ऐसे नहीं करते. Whenever we say that,
Mhm.
what we are telling them is that what you are not enough. You need to change. And as soon as that goes and instills in the child, they will find their coping mechanisms, which they'll carry till very very long in life until they understand it was something which my parent wanted me to do and not me myself. uh, why I say this, because you lose the authenticity of the child there. You tell them that you are not free to express. You tell
Mhm.
them that you cannot feel what you're feeling, and even if you're feeling, don't utter a word because it's not right, it's not the appropriate behavior.
Mhm.
And these people, when they grow up, and I think there's a very beautiful Gabor Mate. I think he's the he
Mhm.
talks about
Right.
trauma. He
Right.
says
Right.
that trauma is not what happens externally, but
Mhm.
what your body feels when something happens, right? What you feel internally. And as soon as you limit somebody when they're trying to communicate, you're telling them do not communicate.
Mhm.
Any future opportunities, even when they are in corporate. I see a lot of examples in the corporate world where people have wonderful ideas, but they won't speak up.
Mhm.
Why? Because they have never been allowed to. As a child, चुप रहो, बड़ों के सामने बोलना नहीं है.
Mhm.
How can you raise your voice? Those things
Mhm.
have to come to an end if you want your child to be authentic, their true self, and stop making them feel that they are not enough.
Absolutely.
That's being a conscious one. and ensuring that nobody does that to your child. Because when you are with your elders, they'll say that तुमने अपने बच्चे को कुछ सिखाया नहीं, which is not true. I'm teaching my child to let be their true self, and which is okay if you did not allow that. And I like to hint on one more point. There's since I work on relationships also, you see that husband and wife, a lot of conflicts happen because they do not know how to communicate. Because they have never been taught to communicate. The man has been told to be a man. The woman has been told to be, she's full of emotions. The man full of emotions but zero expressions. There's no communication at all. And if you limit your child, you're creating another generation of the same set of people. So that's what being a conscious mother is, the whole circle.
Absolutely. And the raising of, I feel, daughter and son should be done in almost the same manner. There shouldn't be any limiting belief that we should give, and pass on to our children. Whether it's boy or girl, it doesn't really matter.
Yes.
It's, very important.
I had, why I'm saying this, because fathers today also try a lot to be that person whom they wanted when they were young, because they did not have a friend in a father, right? Absolutely. But now they want that to be. Like we say, like earlier the nuclear families were very few. Now we are all nuclear families. Most of the families are nuclear families. Right. So you will not always have somebody where you can go and talk to. So you are just the 3 or 4 people at home. So you have to learn to communicate. You have to be that person who is there for you. Because in the end, we are all humans and we are social animals. We cannot stay alone. And that the child needs to understand.
Very nice. So it's a complete circle that we need to take care of. Yeah. And I feel as a mother, we should do our own part and just leave the rest. Not worry about what's happening in the environment, but of course, we should take consistent efforts in doing our own part. That's the most important thing.
Because then you ensure that you have taken the step 1, followed, others follow. So that's how it is.
Absolutely. And then you don't have to be vocal about it also. People automatically follow. We've been seeing that pretty well in our own lives. Yes. Yeah. So any parenting, belief that you would like to share that has been changed over the years?
Okay, let me put it this way. I've forgotten there's a book called Conscious Parenting, and I think the author is Dr. Shufali. Yes, it's a very beautiful book.
Yes.
So in that book, there's a sentence where she says that the child is born through you, not for you. Right? The generation where we were, at least the environment that I was growing up, I'm not aware of what your surrounding was, but most of the people around me, people used to say that जब बड़े हो जाओगे तो मम्मी पापा का ध्यान रखना. बच्चे इसीलिए होते हैं ताकि तुम हमारे बुढ़ापे का सहारा बनो. You become nothing wrong with it. Yes, if you raise your child right, your child will automatically be empathetic enough to do things. But that is not a criteria for you to give birth to a child. That would mean that you are attaching a value to the love that you have for them. That if you do not take care of me, I will not love you. Right? That you are not the right child if you're not doing something for me. That's not right at all.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, we always correct them for everything. In our generation, as I was saying, ye mat karo, waise mat karo, there was no scope for exploration. A set path, a set routine, a set discipline that asked for control. But discipline itself is teaching. And control and teaching are 2 separate things. Right. So that is very, very crucial. What as parent, I feel that I should not have unnecessary expectations attached to my child. And I should discipline them by teaching, not by controlling. So these are the two things which I feel are very, very crucial and important.
Yeah. And I just love this point regarding expectations, because I talk with many children in my school, being a teacher. So when I speak to those children, and majority of the time I ask them, what do you really want to do in your life? Majority of the time I just get to listen to that one answer, and that one answer is, I want to make my parents proud. How heavy is that? Right now, are they not proud of you for just the way you are? You have to become something for having that connection with your parents. I don't want to. There is one beautiful child in my class, very grounded. She knows how to, she respects every teacher. She knows how to connect with her peers, everything. And she is having that, fear in her mind. She loves cricket. I was not aware. Few days back, I was just, before the summer break, I was just speaking to her, like, what do you like? Ma'am, I love cricket. Okay, so I want to be a cricketer, but ma'am, my dad, he wants me to go into academics, so I'll not share this with him. I don't want to disappoint him. Can you imagine how hard these feelings are? If that child is really good, ma'am, I play also. Outside also, academies also, she has joined everything of that sort. But the father still wants her to do something in academics.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe an engineer or something of that sort. But how heavy is that for a child to think like that? I want to make my parents proud and this and that. These were the answers I think even we used to give. And
And I was still giving.
yeah.
I recently did a live Vidyapith training. Okay.
Hmm.
And so we had an opportunity to express what was pulling me down.
Hmm.
And, you know, in that setup, you're always emotional. And I went on the stage, and my mentor asked me, so what is that you think you have not done right? And I gave an example of my uncle. I said, he did a lot for us financially, and we were not so good. And he used to be there for my parent. And then I
Hmm.
was not able to fulfill his dream. And I still regret it. That still sits in my heart,
Yeah.
because I feel that I am not successful because I am not able to fit into the definition of success that he had.
Hmm.
I would never want my child to go into any such feeling. Because, for some people who look at me, they would find me perfect. But I am not loving myself because I'm not fulfilling the expectations of somebody else, which is their expectation, not even mine. How do I come out of that self loathing?
Hmm.
Because I couldn't be what somebody else wanted me to. I would never want that feeling to pass on to either of my kids. You be what you want to be.
Yeah.
I'll try I wouldn't use the word try. I'll give you the best possible opportunity within my limits.
Hmm.
And then you'll choose. Because that guilt is still there in me. I'm working on it myself. Being a coach myself, I'm working on it. And I'll be very honest about it. It's not easy
Hmm.
because we judge ourselves. We see ourselves through the eyes of others for a very, very long time until we have healed ourselves completely. Let's not put our children into those shoes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, Talking about, your journey, so much hearing about your journey as a mother, what do you think in your own life, if you see, what do children need the most, if I say, what do they really need? What are
This,
they craving for?
they're craving for presence. Yeah, because uh, with kids, it's all about connections. Sometimes it's not about the quantity of connections that you make with them, but the quality of connection. Because see, they are most of the times overstimulated. What we as parents do sometimes is that since we are busy, we either give them gadgets or we bring so overstimulating toys that they do not get time to sit and get bored, or just be with themselves
Mm.
or be with us.
Mm.
I do not remember the name of the book, but this is a book that I was reading long time back, and it said that a child doesn't need fancy toys. It's something to do with
Mm.
I don't remember the name, but it's a very beautiful concept where they say that you do not need 10,000 things. You just need a curtain and a pin. That's enough for a kid to play, and that stimulates their brain to think in different directions. We are limiting our children to think from thinking in multiple facets
Yeah.
because we give them so much of things which are readily available.
Mm.
That is something which we need to stop. Have limited screen time, very, very crucial. Be present, even if you're there for 45 minutes, be engaged with them. If they are getting bored, it's not your responsibility to ensure that they are not bored. Let them get bored. It's okay. Boredom brings thoughts which then you think of implementing. It's always beautiful to get bored. It's always underrated, but there's a beauty that lies in it.
Mm.
So let
And
them be bored.
and we can only understand boredom, once we have experienced it ourselves, and that it is magical to sit with our own thoughts and be in our own world. But if we are overstimulated and for every 1 second, after every 1 second, we want to see our phones, how are we going to understand our kids in that way? It will be difficult.
When we just sit with ourselves, I have found so many beautiful lines, for writing, for putting on my Insta or anywhere. I find beautiful lines coming to my head. I love writing. I love prose writing. So many beautiful thoughts come, and then I'm like, oh, why was this not coming? So your genius comes to you when you are bored, when you are in that state of being able to listen to your genius. Overstimulation cuts that, brings an end to it. That's
Yeah.
how it is.
Lovely, lovely. And one simple habit that you would like to share with parents today that they should start doing, any parent who is watching this podcast, that, this is something that you can start doing from today onwards with your kids and it's going to help you.
Okay. Very, very close to my heart, and I try and implement it as much as possible. It's the concept of repair. So, we as individuals are not perfect, neither are our kids. Okay. And there will be moments where you will snap. They will shout, you will shout in return, you'll say a few things, this, that, something or the other, which might just spoil the environment. And you might think that everything that I did the entire day or this entire week has gone down the drain. No, it's not like that. Give yourself a break, sit down, take a deep breathe, go to your child, talk to them, and say that, acknowledge that you made a mistake. Look into their eyes, go get down to their level. Don't be at like looking down at them. No, get down to their level. Very, very crucial. Then the child understand that yes, now we are speaking eye to eye. We are at the same level. And
Hmm.
this Kate Middleton does this a lot. If you have seen, she gets down to that level.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So look into their eyes and acknowledge that you made a mistake. Acknowledge that you should not have done this. And next time onwards, what will be one change that you will bring about when such a situation occurs?
Right.
This repair is very, very beautiful. And if you fail, sometimes your child might come back and tell you, "आप ये हर बार बोलते हो." Ensure that that doesn't happen. So don't overcome it. Say, suppose you scolded them and said that, said anything, okay? So ensure that that line at least you don't repeat the next time.
Hmm.
Bring in a better positive version of that line. Say that so that you know that you are able to communicate better.
Hmm.
Getting down to their level, looking into their eyes, acknowledging your mistake, and committing to not committing the same mistake again. And stick to it. Commitment is very, very important. Commitment to yourself, commitment to the people around you, commitment to your child. And this repair works in every relationship. Trust me.
Yeah. For for repair, I would like to specify, repair can only happen if we keep our egos aside.
Very, very true. That is why it doesn't work with your spouse sometimes.
Because the question arises, why me only?
Yes.
So you have to just keep that aside, that it is completely fine and life is very, it's passing by really soon. So it's good for
I
you only if you have that forgiving nature.
yes, you have to say this. Ego should go. Ego go. Ego say you have to remove E and say ego go.
Wow.
So when you say that, you understand that unnecessarily do not bring something into a relationship which will just cause harm, because your relationship is much more valuable than your ego.
Exactly. Wow, beautiful, Shubhra, beautiful. I just loved the way you've shared everything, and uh, the conversation, I feel it went in such a way that definitely it's going to spread that positivity in all the parents, whosoever listens to this podcast. And let's have a rapid fire round, okay?
Yeah, yeah, why not?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a few things and you just have to give me one word for that, okay?
Mhm.
So, motherhood for you.
Patience,
Wow. Your kids. One word for both your kids.
determination, and passion.
Wow. One habit that brings you peace.
Breathe.
Everybody should breathe.
Very, very important.
Yeah. One skill that you're still learning.
Communicate better.
Right. Okay. One book that every parent should read.
Conscious parenting.
Wow. One lesson that your children has taught you.
That parenting is not about raising better children, it's about becoming a better you.
Wow. And if your child watches this podcast, okay, your children watches this podcast after 20 years from now, what message would you like them to remember?
Okay, so this is a very, very emotional question. So, my kids are looking at this podcast 20 years down the line. The only thing that I would love to tell them that whatever I know at this point in time, whatever my knowledge is, I'm doing it to the best of my ability, ensuring that I implement it in the most righteous way so that I can give you the best upbringing as a mother. The more I learn, the better I'll implement. So there might be situations where you would not see the best version of myself coming out every single time, but trust me, my heart is always there, loving you and caring for you. Every single second, every single moment, every single minute that I breathe, it's for you.
Wow,
But then,
beautiful. You are an amazing and lovely mother,
thank
Shubhra. You're
you.
doing great.
Thank you.
And you can also tell our listeners, where can they learn and connect with you more? If you can just share about that.
Sure, yeah. So I have an Instagram handle goes by the name of Soulful by Shubhra. You can connect there, as well as all the details you'll find in that Instagram handle. I also have a YouTube channel again with the same handle, Soulful by Shubhra, and very soon I'll be launching my own website, and it becomes even more easier to connect and understand. There will be a lot of things on the website which will help parents in their relationships with their children and other things as well. So it will be live soon, and I'll give you a heads up on the Instagram at that point in time.
Wow. So thank you so much, Shubhra. It was amazing to have you here and listen to your entire story. And it is a story of inspiration. I feel you don't have to do something to inspire somebody else. When you have got that awareness, know that you want to do something.
Mhm.
That's the moment that you've already inspired like hundreds of people and millions of people for that matter. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Shagun. To all the listeners, I'll tell you, Shagun herself is a very wonderful, wonderful, wonderful mom. And I hope you continue to do such sessions with all of us so that all of us can collectively inspire and make that ripple effect, for
Absolutely.
everybody to grow together.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me, Shagun.
Thank you. Thank you.